Welcome to another episode of Chad Sports Talk. You don't know, my name's Chad. Take a dive world of sports. And the conference championship games are final. The results are in. We know who is going to Super Bowl 56 there in SoFi Stadium. Does Kansas City make it 3 in a row? Can LA become the second team to play in their home stadium in the Super Bowl? Can the 49ers return after a year absence? Can Cincinnati make it 3-0 in AFC Championship games? There's a lot of things kind of play into this one, and these games came down to the wire. But of course, only the best way to determine these playoffs, it seems like, since divisional rounds in this one. But before we get into that recap action, if you go ahead and smash that thumbs up for me, especially like this content and the entertainment value I provide you, it really helps promote this channel. Please, YouTube gods. You can also subscribe. I've checked my analytics. Not a lot of you guys subscribe, but a lot of you do review my work, and I love you all for doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime. Helps me provide more entertainment value for you. So let's just go ahead and start off with this first matchup between Cincinnati and Kansas City. This is the rematch from Week 17, in which Kansas City went into Cincinnati looking to lock up the number one seed, ended up losing the game, losing the number one seed, becoming number two. Had to play that extra game. And Cincinnati is coming off those big wins. Getting their first win at home and then going into Nashville and knocking off the Titans. And Joe Burrow is just looking cool. He was just cool, calm, collective, and that seemed to really phase him. Even getting sacked 9 times by the Titans, and they still haven't beaten them. And of course, the whole controversy that everyone seems to try to do with the Kansas City win last week against Buffalo. They want a coin toss. It's unfair advantage. It's a team sport, people. Even though a coin toss determines who has possession first, doesn't mean, that both teams don't have the equal opportunity to win that game. But that's a conversation for another time. But let's just go look in this one. And it started off that Kansas City was going to rout them. It really did. It really looked like they were just picking up where they left off against Buffalo and doing everything they needed to do correctly to continue on. They were just chugging along. The first 3 possessions they have all went to touchdowns. They were containing Cincinnati, not allowing them to do much until they were finally able to get Perrine was able to get that screen pass. They ran it in for a touchdown. But I think the moment of the game that really changed the outlook for the game was at the end of the half. 5 seconds left. Instead of taking the 3 points, they decided to go for it. Okay. But then they threw out to the flat and it was immediately tackled for pretty much a loss, which the time then escaped because he took too long to pass it over there. Now, I am no professional player. I've never, been a quarterback trying to make these type of decisions. But if you don't have 5 seconds for a throw, why are you going 1, 2, 3, and then you already wasted 3 seconds throwing it to the guy out there on the flat, and he gets tackled immediately it doesn't make any sense. Both Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes took a blame for that particular play. But, with that being said, that I think that right there was the turning point, because the score was 21-10. At the end of the half in the game in Cincinnati, the score was 21-10 at the half. Kansas City lead. Talk about deja vu, because when they came back out, Kansas City couldn't do nothing. It's like all of a sudden a switch flipped on to Patrick Mahomes, and he just reverted back to how he was at the beginning of the year. I think some poor decisions, not being, or Cincinnati did the right things. Because they're able to contain Patrick Mahomes into the pocket, it wasn't allow him to, beat him with their legs like he did in a couple of plays in the first half. In the second half, he couldn't do that. And Joe Burrow was just being cool, calm, collective, taking what the Chiefs defense was giving him because they were pretty much, they took away Jamar Chase. So T. Higgins became the prime target, who had 10 targets with getting 6 receptions for over 100 yards. So that kind of look at that one. And then when they made it into the end zone, they were able to get Jamar Chase. He was 101. You can't do that with him. He will beat you every time. They go for 2. They get it. They tie the game up. And it was like, here we go again. And the fourth quarter, they exchanged. Cincinnati went down, got a key field goal, go up by 3, and gave Kansas City plenty of time. The play at the end of that half was also questionable. I think the Kansas City just from the second half just kind of neglected the run altogether. He went, okay, Mahomes, you do your thing, and lead us to the promised land once again. But there's some problem now. I mean, yeah, you got Kelsey was like the prime target most of the time, and Tyreek Hill was the number 2 receiver. Because Kelsey almost had 100 yards with TD. Tyreek Hill had 78 yards in TD. So these two guys were the bulk of Mahomes' 275 yards in the air. But there was just things just not right for some reason. It just wasn't doing what they normally do. Running attack wise, they kind of went away from McKinnon and Edwards, Hillary, who were like the primary 2 running backs. I mean, it just couldn't really develop. If they kind of develop more of a running game, maybe they put less pressure on Mahomes, and then he was able to do his things because then the Bengals just sat back, rest 3, possibly 4, and step back and go, all right, all of us are back here and trying to beat us, and you couldn't do it. But I regress here with that end of the fourth. They're right there in the red zone. They went backwards. Patrick Mahomes went back 17 yard, fumbled the ball. It was luckily a lineman was there to land on it to preserve the game, the ball, the possession to the Kansas City. And then up, kicking the field goal and tying it up, sending the game to overtime. So here we go. Of course, overtime game, Kansas City. Why not? Then once again, the Bengals took the game plan from the Bills, and hey, we go heads, and it'd be tails. Josh Allen on Twitter just simply put one word: pain. And everyone on Twitter was going, oh, here we go. Chiefs won the game. Start whining again. And here's the thing. The defense showed up. Picked off Mahomes for a second time in this game. Gave the Bengals excellent field position. They were able to march down the field. Set up perfectly for Shooter. That's his nickname. McPherson. To hit the game-winning field goal, and the Cincinnati Bengals are heading to the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in franchise history. They are 3-0 in the conference championship game. And once again, Kansas City loses the conference championship game in overtime to deny them the Super Bowl. So they've been in the conference championship 4 straight years. Lost the first one to Tom Brady on their first possession touchdown. They win the next 2. Then they lose this one in overtime on a field goal. So, it was an exciting game. I enjoyed watching this one. Cincinnati is definitely the surprise team no one saw coming. Much like the 1999 St. Louis Rams, the greatest show on turf. Now they've made their magical run in the Super Bowl. This is the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's get into that other one. Round 3 between the 49ers and Rams. The 49ers have beaten the Rams the last 6 straight times. Do the 49ers still have those numbers? The Rams number. It looked like that from the first possession. It did. The Rams were moving along. and Stafford doing Stafford things throws a pick in the end zone. I'm like, well, here we go again. And that first quarter, it was a defensive showdown between the two. And it was just, and I had to say there's a lot of bad blood between these two teams. I mean, there were some hits that should have been called that weren't. Some plays that probably should have been flagged that weren't. I mean, the refs were kind of let these two guys almost, go bare knuckle fighting out in the middle of the field. It was. But the thing with these two teams is the quarterbacks are kind of the weakest link. They both find ways to keep the other team in the games, it seems like, and the defenses are there to kind of bail them out. And it was looking like the 49ers were just going to just have their number once again. 49er fans are also packed in SoFi, so it almost felt like a 49ers home game once again. And I mean, Jimmy G was doing what he had to do. He had 2 touchdowns and actually had the 49ers on top 17-7 heading into that final frame. I mean, that's just ridiculous how, this was going. And the Rams just had to buckle up. Sam Darnold got the whole defense together to kind of, revitalize them, take charge, and they did. I mean, they were then shut down the 49ers that fourth quarter. The Rams were starting to make plays going forward, and Cup was just being phenomenal. Had 142 yards receiving. OBJ had another 113 yards receiving, as Stafford had over 330 yards passing. And they were just, Cup was doing like I said, with his 142 yards, had 2 touchdowns. As the Rams were able to then tie it, and then they were able to do another drive, take a 3-point lead, give them plenty of time to the 49ers to make their magical run. And then Jimmy D did Jimmy G things. Aaron Donald applied pressure, flushed them out. I guess he was trying to do his Patrick Mahomes impression and kind of sidearm toss it to the running back out there in the flat, a little too high. He tipped it up, intercepted. That's it, a ball game. Rams are able just to kneel it down to become the second team in a row, mind you, to play at their home stadium for the Super Bowl. So that's right. Now your Super Bowl contest is the Los Angeles Rams, the team that just went all in on this season and just threw away draft picks like they were nothing to bring in Matthew Stafford. They signed up Odell Beckham. They traded for Von Miller. You already have Sam Darnold and Jalen Ramsey in that secondary. Cooper Kupp is turning to be a star right there, receiver. And they threw it all, just put all the chips in the middle of the table. And you got the upstart Bengals are just sitting there on the other side of the table, just all cool, calm, collective, just doing what they have to do and find themselves in the Super Bowl. So you got the old man, 13 seasons, first time in the Super Bowl, and then the young gun is only in his second year in the league, I believe, if I remember correctly, and in the Super Bowl. Who would thunk it? It's definitely going to be a fun matchup. You get 2 weeks of build-up between these two teams, so, the hype's going to be real. The talk is going to be all over, is it Joe Cool, or is it Matthew Stafford? Is it Sam Darnold, or is it Jamar Chase? Is it Kupp and Beckham, or is it Joe Mixon? I mean, there's just so many different aspects, and the Rams have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. The Bengals have Shooter McPherson. That's why the Bengals keep saying that's why you draft the kicker. If you ever see their Twitter feed, that's all they say. But this weekend definitely was a fun weekend. I split. Like I said, I picked Kansas City to begin the season as my Super Bowl champion, so I rode with them until they lost. They lost. So like I said, Super Bowl matchup. Los Angeles Rams will take on the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think anyone saw that matchup coming, but it's going to be a fun game. More to come in these next couple of weeks in terms of this. With that being said, hey, just let me know down below what you thought about these particular games. What disappointed you the most? What did you find most exciting? Are you pleased that these two teams are in the Super Bowl? And who's going to win the Super Bowl? I mean, let's get that discussion started. Well, there you go. So subscribe. Once you subscribe, you hit that bell notification. Let you know next time I post a video. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.